Deji a better boxer than his brother KSI? Well, let's break it down. Boxing knowledge. I picked two boxing matches of each one of them, when we can compare their technique, their power, their cardio, their defense skills, and everything. Let's start with Deji versus Jake Paul. Knowing this is the first boxing match of Deji, he delivered a pretty solid fight. Jake Paul started by throwing those jabs to find his range, but the tank Deji didn't panic and responded by a jab himself that landed straight into Jake's face. The round continued and Jake was becoming more and more aggressive, throwing those clean shots, especially that stepping uppercut here, but Deji managed to fight back and got out of his corners, making Jake Paul bleed from his nose. Deji definitely has a great counterpunch ability. The second round started by Deji being the more aggressive. He comes forward swinging on Jake and hitting him with some good punches. He definitely was more aggressive in this round, but little did he know that this aggression would get him tired pretty fast, considering his cardio wasn't on point. Round 2 ended and what we can say is that Deji was more aggressive here, but at the end of the round he barely threw any punches due to his cardio, what let Jake Paul score some points by tagging the tank and throwing more punches. The rest of the rounds were pretty much the same. Deji was exhausted, couldn't throw much punches, what let Paul take the win. We can definitely say that Deji lost his cardio in this fight. Now let's cover the fight between KSI and Joe Weller. The fight started and Joe Weller didn't waste time and walks right across. In response, KSI throws a jab. Even though it didn't land, he continued to throw jabs. He was making sure to keep that pressure on Joe, who was only blocking shots and not responding back with some punches. And one thing we can notice about KSI, that his hands don't come back right away when he throws. What let Joe find the opportunity to land a left hook that landed perfectly. The fight continued and KSI hands were completely down, but it wasn't a major problem here, because Joe Weller didn't follow up with some punches and somehow didn't want to make KSI pay. The rest of the rounds were a domination by KSI. Joe was just blocking shots and allowing KSI to hit him without responding back. Yeah, he did throw some punches that landed on JJ, but it wasn't enough at KSI to the win. Now let's see the improvements of those two brothers and cover their latest fight. Afterwards we can compare their skills and how they were able to better themselves in every term. Deji versus Fousey. Coming with 3 losses, everyone was doubting Deji, and no one was seeing him winning this fight, considering Fousey was looking like a Greek god. But Deji surely proved all of them wrong. The fight started and we can see the game plan of Deji. He wasn't going to run away from action like he did in his previous fight against Alex Wassabi. He was focusing on initiating the action. We can say that his punches here were fundamentally similar to his fight against Jake Paul, but what made him step up here is not loading up on those punches. The tank was throwing them loose, light and without any hesitation. Deji was also loose on the defense and wasn't tense like when he was fighting a Jake. He was slipping punches easily and using his footwork very efficiently. We can immediately notice his improvements on the cardio aspect. Now technique-wise, we can also see a lot of improvements. Deji was pulling out his lead hand and playing with that lead hand of Fousey to get him distracted, so he can throw his backhand right after it. We can also notice that Deji was reading and reacting in this fight, not just running backward like we saw in his previous fights. The tank was jutting his head forward to make Fousey react, and when he did react, Deji would pull back real quick and throw some punches back. He was using this technique over and over in this fight, and it worked almost every single time, considering his opponent was standing still without defending himself. The fight ended and Deji took the win. KSI versus Pineda. In this fight it was hard to notice all of KSI improvements. His opponent was hardly throwing any punches and constantly complaining about getting hit in his back head. But from what we saw, we can say that KSI had a ridiculous cardio. He came in the ring looking shredded, ready to destroy his opponent. KSI was constantly throwing those powerful punches at the body that made his opponent suffer. We can see Pineda's face, he was not expecting JJ to be this strong. Also in this fight, Deji was not dependent on those looping punches, he wasn't swinging all the time like he did in his past fights. KSI was more technical, his jab was educated, it wasn't overextended or falling down to his side after he was done with it. He was throwing the jab and remaining in his boxing fundamentals. Now JJ's defense wasn't that good. Yeah, he did put his hands up most of the time, but he wasn't avoiding some of Pineda's punches. We can't say that it was a major problem here because Pineda barely threw punches and wasn't applying pressure on KSI. But it will surely be a big problem in his upcoming fights if he won't improve defensively. Finally, we can say that those two brothers showed a lot of improvements in their boxing abilities. But who is actually the better boxer? Well, from what we just analyzed, Deji has better hand movement, got faster hands, can throw punches without telegraphing, and has a great counterpunch ability. On the other hand, JJ has got more powerful hands, a great cardio, and non-stop pressure on his opponents. So I'd say we have to see another fight from JJ to really know who is a better boxer in all aspects. But skill-wise, we can all agree that Deji is better than KSI.